Hi, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Mobility Mama podcast. I'm so happy you're here. Grab your coffee, go for a walk, fold the laundry, do what you need to do, enjoy some time to yourself, whatever this little pocket of time looks like for you. I'm glad we get to spend it together. Today, I want to talk about something that has become a really big part of how I think about motherhood, movement, and honestly getting older too. And that's this idea that becoming a mom somehow means the most exciting things your body will ever do are behind you, because I just don't believe that. Motherhood absolutely changed my body and my priorities. It changed the way I use my time, and it changed the way I exercise. But one thing it did not do was make me stop being curious about what my body could do. If anything, I think becoming a mom has made me more curious. And honestly, I feel more capable. And that's what I want to talk about today. Okay, but first, I just want to say, huge thanks to my parents for making this podcast possible today. Last night was super tough with my second little dude, and I don't know what was bothering him, but something kept him up all night. And it was, we haven't had a night like that in a while, so I'm super grateful for that. But dang, I was up all night with him, and this morning I was like, I wanted to do my podcast, I wanted to do all these things, and I was like, well, maybe I'll just try to get my workout and yoga flow in, and maybe that will be it. But my parents are taking care of the boys. I'm super excited because this podcast really brings me joy. Okay, but to go along with this podcast bringing me joy, what's been bringing me joy this week is actually something I'm so excited about. I finished filming 2 offerings for you guys this past week, and I just feel incredibly happy with how they came together. I spent so much time thinking about what I actually would have wanted after having each of my babies, not just as a yoga teacher, but as a mom trying to feel good in my body again. And these are genuinely the resources I wish I could have had. I'm so excited. What makes me especially excited, though, is how they progress together. So you don't have to jump straight into some huge program or suddenly find an hour in your day to work out. They meet you where you are, help you start reconnecting with your body, and then slowly build from there. So now that I've actually filmed them and can see everything coming together, I'm just really proud of them. And I'm really excited for you guys to experience them too. I don't want to give too much away yet because I'll be sharing more soon, but finishing those this past week has definitely been what's bringing me joy. And honestly, it connects really well to today's conversation because creating these programs has made me think so much about what our bodies are capable of after having babies, not just trying to get back to where we were before, but asking, where can we go from here? Can we build forward instead of trying to get back to what we were? Because motherhood didn't make me stop wanting to do cool things with my body. If anything, it made me want to do more cool things and see what's possible. Something I've been thinking about lately is how naturally kids approach movement. They see something and think, I think I'm going to climb that, or I bet I can jump off of that. Can I balance on this? How about I hang upside down off of this? They don't need a reason. They're just curious. And I think somewhere in adulthood, we start losing that. Especially as women, and especially after becoming moms, there can almost be this expectation that our relationship with our bodies becomes entirely practical. Exercise to stay healthy, exercise to lose the baby weight, exercise because you should, stretch because your back hurts, do your core exercises because you had a baby. And obviously, taking care of our bodies is so important, but what about play? What about curiosity? What about learning something just because it would be really freaking cool if you could do it? I never want motherhood to become the reason that I stop asking, I wonder what I'm capable of. Before I had kids, I already loved movement. I loved yoga, I loved flexibility, I loved challenging poses and seeing progress. I loved lifting weights and feeling strong. There's something so satisfying about working towards something your body can't do yet and slowly watching it become possible. And then pregnancy happens, birth happens, postpartum happens, your body changes, your core changes, your schedule definitely changes, and your sleep. Everything's kind of thrown out of whack for a little while. And suddenly there are all these things that used to feel normal that just don't really feel normal anymore. I think it would have been really easy for me to look at that and think, well, that was the old me, or I used to be able to do that before kids. And I honestly think that phrase, I used to, can become really powerful if we're not careful, because eventually we can start believing that our best physical years are behind us. But I didn't want that to be the story I told myself. One of the biggest shifts for me was that I stopped being so interested in getting back to my old body, or back to exactly how I moved before pregnancy, back to some previous version of myself, because I am not that person anymore. And I don't mean that negatively or in any bad way at all. I'm just a mom now, and my body has done incredible things. My life is completely different. I have grown personally. So instead of asking, how do I get back to where I was, I started asking, where could I go from here? And I just freaking love that question, because getting back has an end point. You're trying to recreate something that already existed. It makes you feel behind, or like you're trying to catch up, or you know what I mean? There's something that you're not doing. But where could I go from here has so much possibility. Maybe I could actually become stronger. Maybe I could become more mobile. Maybe I could learn skills I've never done before. Maybe I could understand my body better than I ever did before having kids. And that has absolutely been my experience. It is so wild. Motherhood didn't make me want to stop doing cool yoga poses. It didn't make me want to stop practicing handstands. It didn't make me think, well, shoot, I'm a mom now, so I guess those days are over. Honestly, it pretty much did the opposite. It made me want to keep seeing what was possible. There is something incredibly empowering about realizing my body can have babies and still do amazing things. Those two identities don't compete with each other. I can be the mom making snacks and wiping faces and carrying kids around, and also be the woman upside down practicing a handstand at the park because it's fun. I can care deeply about my family and still have goals that belong completely to me. I can be grateful for everything my body has done through motherhood and still be excited about what it hasn't done yet. I don't think those things are selfish in any way. I think they're really healthy. There's also something different about accomplishing something physical after becoming a mom, because now you understand your body differently. You've seen it change, drastically. You've watched it adapt. You've probably had moments where you didn't even recognize it. And then one day you do something you couldn't do before. Maybe you hold a handstand. Maybe you get your splits. Maybe you lift something heavier, or maybe you finally feel strong in your core again. And there's this moment of, wait, I can still surprise myself. Actually, maybe I'm not even trying to become who I was before. Maybe I'm becoming someone new. And I think that's such a beautiful way to approach postpartum movement. Not how quickly can I get my old body back, but who am I becoming in this body? And I want to make something really clear here too. This isn't me saying every mom needs to do a handstand. Please don't leave this episode thinking I'm assigning everyone an arm balance. Handstands happen to be one of the things that light me up. Your thing might be completely different. Maybe you want to run your first 5K, or maybe you want to hike a mountain with your family. Maybe you want to pick up your toddler without your back bothering you. Maybe you just want to touch your toes and feel free in your hamstrings. Maybe you want to sit comfortably on the floor and play with your kids. Maybe you want to learn crow pose. Maybe you want to lift heavier weights and really enter your strong mom era. Maybe you want to feel confident walking into a yoga class again. That was a huge deal for me after my first, for sure. Maybe you don't even know what your thing is yet, and that's totally okay. The point isn't the accomplishment. The point is giving yourself permission to stay curious. This is another part of it that I really love. My boys see me move. They see me practice. They see me try new things. And importantly, they see me not get the things right away. They see me fall out of handstands. They see me practice something over and over and over. The first phrase my first son learned was try again. I was like, let's try again. They see me laugh when it doesn't work. And I actually think there's something really valuable in that. I don't necessarily want my kids growing up thinking their mom was naturally good at everything. I want them to see that adults are still learning too. I want them to know you don't just reach some age where you stop being a beginner. You can be 30 and still say, I've never done this before. I wonder if I could learn. What an incredible thing for our kids to see. And honestly, I love that my boys get to see a mom who genuinely enjoys using her body, not because I'm trying to make it smaller, not because movement is like a punishment or for something that I ate, but because being strong is fun. Learning is fun. Moving is fun. It gives us such good energy, and I hope some of that stays with them. The funny thing is, I probably care less about proving what my body can do now than I did when I was younger. But I enjoy discovering what it can do more. There's less pressure attached to it. I don't need the pose. I don't need the perfect circumstance to work out or practice. I don't need every practice to be like super productive. Sometimes I just want to move because movement feels so good. Sometimes I want to work really hard towards something. Sometimes I have only 5 minutes. Motherhood has definitely taught me to work with the season I'm in instead of constantly fighting against it. And I think that's what's made movement more sustainable for me. It belongs in my life now. It's part of it. It doesn't have to take me away from my life. And that's something I really want other moms to know and be able to experience too. You don't necessarily need to carve out this completely separate life in order to take care of yourself. Movement can happen alongside being an awesome mom. Your kids can be there. It can be messy. It can get interrupted. You can come back tomorrow. It still counts. I also think this applies beyond postpartum. Women get sent so many subtle messages about aging. You're young, then you have babies, then suddenly you're supposed to start talking about everything our bodies can't do anymore. And I just don't want to participate in that narrative. Of course, our bodies change, and of course, different seasons require different things from us. And I'm not interested in pretending that aging doesn't exist or that our bodies are exactly the same forever. But I also don't want to assume that getting older automatically means becoming less capable. I want to keep building strength. I want to keep working on mobility. I want to keep learning and definitely want to keep playing. I want to be 60 years old and still curious about what my body can do. Shoot, push it. Let's say 80. Let's just be the 80-year-old grandma in the gym. That's me. I want other moms to feel that way too. Not because we have something to prove, but because possibility is fun. And if you're listening to this and thinking, well, I don't feel strong right now, that's okay. Maybe you're newly postpartum. Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe it's been years since you've exercised consistently. Maybe your body feels completely unfamiliar right now. You don't need to jump from that place to some huge physical goal. You get to start exactly where you are. 5 minutes counts, walking counts, breathing really counts. Mobility counts, strength work counts. And you know what? Rest counts too, like more than we give it credit for. And if you're newly postpartum or dealing with pain, pelvic floor symptoms, or anything that doesn't feel right, this also isn't about rushing your recovery or ignoring what your body is telling you. Get the support you need and give your body the time it deserves. The goal isn't to prove that motherhood didn't change you. It totally did. The goal is to stay open to the possibility that change doesn't have to mean decline. You may actually discover a version of yourself you haven't even met yet, or you didn't even know was possible for you yet. I was thinking about this episode, I kept coming back to one sentence. Motherhood isn't the end of your movement story. And I truly believe that. Maybe motherhood is the chapter where you finally learn to listen to your body. Maybe it's where you stop exercising because you hate your body and start moving because you actually love living in it. Maybe it's where you learn strength for the first time. Maybe it's where you discover yoga and the freedom you can feel from doing that, both emotionally and physically. Maybe it's where you become more mobile than you've ever been before. Maybe it's where you finally do the thing you thought you'd never be able to do. Your story isn't over, and your strongest chapter doesn't necessarily have to be behind you. You might actually be walking right into it. So here's your reset for the week. I want you to ask yourself, what would be fun to be able to do with my body? Not what should I do? Not what do I need to do or what do I need to fix? Not what would burn the most calories, but what sounds fun? What makes you think, ooh, I wonder if I could do that? Maybe something immediately pops into your head. Write it down. And then think about the tiniest first step towards it, because you don't have to accomplish it this week. You don't even have to accomplish it this year. And just give yourself permission to want something. Shoot, I've been working on handstands again after my second son for 2 years, or a year and a half now. Give yourself permission to be that beginner. Give yourself permission to try something and be absolutely terrible at it for a while. And give yourself permission to keep discovering what you're capable of, because you're still becoming. Motherhood didn't end that. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. I hope today's episode leaves you feeling excited about your body, not because of what it looks like, but because of everything it still has the potential to learn and experience. And if there's one thing I hope you remember from this episode, it's this. I never want motherhood to become the reason we stop asking, I wonder what I'm capable of. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe so we can keep having these conversations every week. And please leave me a comment too, because I really want to hear this one. What's something you'd love to be able to do with your body? It can be a handstand, it can be a hike, it can be getting onto the floor with your kids comfortably. It can be something you've never even tried before. There is no goal too big or too small. Until next week, keep moving in a way that helps you feel strong, free, and connected to yourself. And I will see you next time on the Mobility Mama podcast.